Cool beans. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm not sure I'm happy with your lack of support.
About you being a karate artist?
Yeah, you saw it. You saw it with your own two eyes, and you're going to deny?
We've already had this conversation. You're not a ninja. You're not a karate master.
How do you know? You're not like a master in any of those. You wouldn't recognize a karate master if they went up and said, "Hey, I'm a karate master." Do you know how I know? Because I came up to you and said, "Hey, I'm a karate master."
I'm trained to kill.
The mood. Boom.
You're the killer of fun. We've already had that conversation today too.
Yeah, but do you know why that is?
Why?
I'm the killer of fun.
Yes.
Like the dude that invented banisters is the killer of fun. Okay? It's the same type of fun killing. Like, yeah, sure. Everybody would love it if the balcony was completely unencumbered, but then they fall 60 stories and die. I'm the guy that prevents that from happening.
You just got to learn to be safe.
Again, knowing my target audience, I continue to fulfill this role for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was happening in the car the other day? See, we should just record ourselves all the time.
That's super douchey.
Why?
We're not that cool.
I know, but the things that happen that are noteworthy.
Of note?
Because you said, this is why. This is what people don't see on the podcast.
The three of you are jerks most of the time.
Can't remember what happened.
I'm pretty sure I was called ugly about 2 seconds before I made that comment.
No, it wasn't us being mean. It was like doing something ADHD-ish. I can't remember what it was though.
Yeah. I think, is ADHD catching? Like, can you catch ADHD from people?
Why?
I'm pretty sure my mom caught ADHD from you guys.
Why?
Because the whole repeat the story that just happened thing happened earlier today.
That's old age. See, and
Are you calling my mother old?
No.
On a recorded podcast that she could possibly listen to. I'm kidding. She never listens to this.
I know. But I'm terrified of catching Alzheimer's. Okay,
you can't catch Alzheimer's. It's not like someone old's going to sneeze on you. You're like, what's happening?
No, but your brain. Okay, so remember when we were doing those like personal development things years and years ago? And Jay,
some of the coolest people we ever met.
Yes.
Yep.
So, Jay was talking about this book. I think it was like called Change or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And how people like in that book, they had done research and like thousands of people were part of this, and they only needed to make one change in their life.
Yes.
Or die.
Yes.
And it was not use salt.
Yeah. And they couldn't
stop using salt or die. And they couldn't do it. Like 98% of them reverted back to salt and died. And I think his father was one.
Yes.
He's like, I know the day that he chose to die was the day he picked up the salt container. So I'm kind of like that with Alzheimer's. I know, like, I do everything that I need to do for a healthy brain into old age except sleep. And sleep is like the number one thing that contributes to Alzheimer's.
I told you.
Dementia. I just can't.
I can get you in. I'm a connected guy now. I'm going on the 25th.
For sleep apnea testing.
Or
I don't have sleep apnea.
But there are sleep clinics.
Workaholism.
There are sleep clinics.
Yeah, but I know what my problem is, and I'm just not making the change. That's all.
What change do you need? No, what change do you need to make that will allow you to sleep more?
Sleep more. Go to bed earlier. Sleep in. Well, I can't sleep. I can't force myself to sleep in, but maybe not stress about needing to work at 3:00 in the morning and then getting up and working and knowing if I sleep in anymore, that's 1 hour less that I wouldn't be able to work.
Your boss is a dick.
I know.
Perhaps the worst boss I've ever met.
Anyway, I don't want to complain about my sleep anymore. I'm just worried about Alzheimer's.
Well, I'll be there to let you know. We could make it romantic like 51st Dates. I'll record a video of me in my Karate Master gear reintroducing myself every day. And you're like, oh my God, I'm married to a Karate Master. And it'll be perfect for both of us.
I just need to look at you and know that you're not a Karate Master.
That's so effing hurtful.
I'm sorry.
So hurtful. You said something else on the walk today. It was super hurtful too.
I called you your brother. I said, hello, Christopher.
No, it wasn't that. I'm used to saying that.
And you did not like that.
No. Shout out to Chris. I love you, buddy.
But
no.
he gets hurt every time I call him Christopher. But he looks exactly like you.
Okay, Julie. Yeah, someone's face got super serious there all of a sudden.
My mom listens to this.
I know, and she's
So
a
be
beautiful
nice to her.
woman.
Thank you.
Good grandma. Bringing us a couch or two in the near future.
So what did I do?
I can't remember.
Alrighty.
I don't. If I held on to all the mean comments you lobbed my way during the course of a day.
Oh, I know what it was.
Oh, see, don't
about hot air rising.
Yeah, it was dense. That's what it was. And I'm like, dense air. So stupid. Like, it's such a childish bird. I think that's what offended me more than anything. It's like, no, you're a poo head. What? Yeah. And then you skip off with the kids like you just scored a huge win. I'm like, it's not even a bird. Anyways.
All right. So my question of the day is about peer pressure. Have we talked about this? Why are you looking at me funny like that?
Where else am I going to look?
Okay, but funny like that.
It's my face.
Yeah. Okay, Jason Segel. Anywho, I get this a lot where kids are like, but everybody's got it. I got to have a phone because everybody's got it, right? So little kids, teenagers, everybody else does this thing, right? And so why can't I do this thing? So, yeah, I actually took a couple of notes just off the top of my head. Only like
you prepared?
I actually prepared just because I'm forgetting stuff.
But this isn't the episode that you were going to prepare for.
It's not.
You've still not prepared for that.
I have not.
All
because
right, continue.
It's very involved. It's not that I need to prepare notes or anything. It's just it's like multiple choice, choose your own adventure kind of thing.
Why haven't we done that?
I know. So actually, it's more like a Family Feud kind of thing. Really, is.
I'll crush it.
I don't think you will, but I need to prepare for that one. So
what she just said, ladies and gentlemen, is she's rigging a game against me for an episode, is what she just said. If you didn't pick up on that.
If the Family Feud topic, if it was like, name the top 5 hockey players of all time, or like the top 5 weird music bands that nobody's ever heard of,
Google Waddell,
you would get it. So, but
Asteroids Galaxy Tour.
When it comes to parenting, I mean, that's why we're doing this. Parenting.
All right. I thought we were doing it because we were experts and I knew everything.
No, because we fail every day and we're like, we should have every day we're like, why haven't we won Parents of the Year award yet? Because we just did something super stupid and are amazed that we still have children with us.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. Let's dive into your notes here.
So, well, no, I want to know how you would address it. I just wanted a couple things that I knew I wanted to remember because seriously, I'm forgetting everything. Okay.
We should have a whiteboard in here so you can jot stuff down as we go. So I want to make sure I got the question right. Is the question, how do I deal with it in general?
Yeah. So if the girls were coming, like everybody's got a phone.
So their peer pressure resulting in them coming to us for something.
Essentially. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but then it goes. It does. I think it starts here, but it does go into what are they going to do when everybody's jumping off the cliff? Are they going to jump off the cliff with their friends? So yeah, it's going to start with now they want what everything their friends
Fun
want.
fact.
Yeah.
We've literally been cliff jumping with our children and neither have really succeeded at that. I don't worry about that analogy anymore. Okay. Because I know if their friends are jumping off a cliff, our 2 are not going to, because I've seen it with my own eyes.
I know. I have to push them.
Okay, that's not how you say it.
Okay, yeah. Didn't one of them go because they were going over the waterfall?
One of them went.
And somebody was like, aren't you going to go over there in case they bail? And
that was like, you in BC.
Yeah, the waterfall.
But when we were in Costa Rica, neither went.
Mm.
And it was a smaller jump from what you said the other one was. But for some reason, they both...
I think one of them went. Maya started, and then Willow's like, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to show my big sister how to do it.
Something.
And then I was sure she was going to slip backwards and hit her head on the rock as she fell into the water.
Yeah, that's true. She does have weird form sometimes.
But there were other parents at the bottom, so I wasn't too worried. Because
hey, parenting by community, right? It takes a village of strangers on a trip. Okay.
What would you do?
I don't know what I'd do because I know this question has been posed to me before and I know I've answered it poorly. So I don't want to say what I would say because it's not, I don't think, a great response to it. But let's use a cell phone. That's the biggest peer pressure, right? Biggest peer pressure is cell phone. Maya was never an issue, right?
Well, grade 5 was a little bit. But anyway,
but it went away quick.
It did. Yeah.
It didn't. It's the absolute opposite with Willow. It's an everyday challenge that she can't communicate instantly with her friends. I think.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think
maybe to you because you're the weaker parent, the Gibson. Maybe.
I honestly don't understand why you think that.
Okay, just go.
If we ask the kids right now, this is a great episode. If we ask the kids right now who the meaner parent is when it comes to that, I guarantee it's not you. Guarantee. I would be considered the one that's a bigger jerk. Yeah.
They know to come to me.
100%.
Well, because most of the stuff you say no to, I'm like, why not? Even just today, there was something.
Yeah. And
why are you saying no?
Totally.
Killer of fun.
Yeah, but the problem with that, this is not the episode you wanted because we're about to go down a path. Here's a fun fact. That's cool that you think that. The problem is you state that in front of the kids, and then I immediately have 3 children I'm trying to debate. Because not as a unified front do you go, hey, man, okay, I'll let him have this one, but I'll talk to him about it later. In your head, you go, what? Why? That's dumb. Yeah, you're fine. And I go, well, I guess I'll eat my dinner and just tell myself to go screw off.
No, with big things, there was something even just recently. I'm like, I'm going to bring it to you to ask you. But anyway, we're off topic.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
What?
And what did you end up doing?
Yeah, I don't even know what it was.
It was the Rutherford Scholarship. And you said it right in front of her. Nick and he went, okay. So you were in the position of, yeah, we're cool.
No, there was something. That one I just knew you'd be okay with. There was something that I remember, and we have never talked to the girls. I said, I'm bringing it to you because it's something we need to discuss.
I'm going to drop this for now.
Yeah.
But as soon as we stop this and we record the next episode, I'm going to give you a hint what my question's going to be. Okay. Anyways, this is a really good question because I'm struggling to answer because cell phones especially, it's just a no. Like, I don't care what the excuse is. I don't care what you think you need. The answer is no. Mm-hmm. Hardcore no. Willow has it in her mind, though, that at the U14 level that she goes into next year, she can get a cell phone. Mm. And she's come to this conclusion because that, in her mind, was the age that Maya was when she got hers. She's not right. Maya got it in her second year of U14 when she went AA. And it was because the coach said she needed to, the summer before, we offered to get her one as a loaner so that she can keep in touch with her friends because we were worried about friendship stuff.
And we moved, so it was context versus age. And I think she did have a phone by now, but only to text, only to call, and even still, her phone 100%. Only has those capacities and to take pictures. 100%. But we moved from out of town into town. And so she would have no other way and switch, and then even when she moved into town, switch schools. So anyway.
It wasn't the move, it was the move of schools. It was the move of schools,
right.
Because it all culminated around that second U14 year where she needed to be able to respond to her coach. So we let her keep it. Was because originally it was a summer thing only.
Right.
Willow doesn't see it like that. She sees it as she went to U14, she got a phone. So I should be getting one this summer. Why are we not shopping for phones for me, Dad? Because I should get it. I think if I'm to answer this honestly, it truly comes down to the situation and the child. Mm-hmm. I have greater concerns about, if she listens to this, she'll be upset, but I have greater concerns around Willow having a phone than I do with Maya. Mm-hmm. And to a certain degree, that comes down to the kids she communicates with through your phone currently have demonstrated already a lack of good common sense and judgment with their own phones.
Yeah.
I do not want her to be able to be part of that. Mm-hmm. And frankly, her biggest concern of the past 2 weeks is every time she hangs out with their friends, all they do is sit on their phone.
Yeah.
Every time. That's all they do is sit on their phone. They sit on their phone. They sit on their phone. They sit on their phone. So it is funny to me that she hasn't pushed for the phone in a few weeks. This more recent incident has come up. But I think if to me, when it comes to peer pressure, I will always default to, I don't care if your peers are doing it. No, we'll talk about it or we'll see, because it's not a blanket answer. When they're 12, they can have a phone. No, absolutely not. Like, most kids aren't responsible enough to have it at 18, right? And I think it would come down to using the cell phone as an example. What does she want it for? What is the purpose, right? In Maya's situation, it was to try and make sure that she retained friendships that she had struggled to build. And then it was part of her sports experience, right? And that independence needed to communicate on her own with her coach. It wasn't so she could do stories on Instagram and TikTok and all this other garbage, which I know Willow's friend group does, right? And I know Maya's friend group does it as well. Yeah. But she doesn't enjoy it, and so doesn't lament the loss of it. She sometimes will make a comment that it's a little harder to be in the loop, but at the same time, she sees kind of the effect of it and doesn't go for it. So,
well, and I've been asking, like, I asked her friends, is Maya at a disadvantage not having Snapchat? And they're like, well, kind of. And I've asked Maya, like, is this a conversation, not to say, do you have it, but a conversation to open up? And she's like, no, like, I have no interest. So,
which is all part of it, right? She's lived without it for so long. And frankly, her only experience with it is the negative outcomes that it brings to her friends, the drama that it creates.
So that's an easy one, because I think we've instilled the value, and we've instilled that's a non-negotiable for us. Yes. The social media, it's not even about the phone as much as the social media aspect of it, right? 100%. And so that's important to know our values, what are around. And I think so having those conversations proactively is so important, right? What is it that's important to us, to our core values, our beliefs, development, health, safety, all of those things. And I think we've maintained pretty clear boundaries and lines with that. So it's first parents knowing what those are. I mean, we can't possibly know every single situation. Yeah. But we want to get on offense. We want to have these discussions early. And I'm going to get to things like drugs and smoking and things like that in a second. But like with the phone, I think that we've been very clear. And so I think parents getting on the same page, because they wait for things to come up. And it's like, well, and so then there's I know some of the parents that I work with listen to this. So I don't necessarily I don't know. I'm going to have to bring up a couple of issues that they brought up just as different examples, right? That for me isn't as big of a deal, right? But for them, that's okay if it is. And actually, the one mom who I'm pretty sure does listen to this, she was talking about how her daughter said, strict parents have sneaky kids. Mm-hmm. And so mom's navigating what are those boundaries that are non-negotiable. Right. And so one of them, for example, that she asked me was allowing my teenager to get into a car with other teenagers who've just got their license, who are still learning, who aren't safe, who aren't, and I know I've got a 16-year-old who just blew through a stop sign the other day. Mm-hmm. Right. And I'm like, did you know there was a stop sign? Oh my gosh, really? Like, I had no clue. And I'm like, yeah. So I get that concern, but I also know that that's a rite of passage. And it's a big deal when you get your license, you want to drive. Like, Maya's been driving even Willow around when everybody else is busy, right? Like, it's a big deal. Yeah. So for me, I think that that's an important part. Yeah, there's safety risks, but so is going to school in the States. Like, I don't know. Wow. You just never know, right? You just never know. Anything can happen. Yeah. But so.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, and there's a difference between strict parents and I think, because there are non-negotiable. We're very strict with a few things.
Very few things, yeah.
But it's our implementation of those rules that isn't the same, because strict in that we're learning when we hear about some of the other things that go on. Strict to the kids is punishment based. And a lot of it that I'm looking at, I hear things that I'm like, what is the point of that? Like, why are you doing that to your kid? Run your house how you see fit, do what you want to do, not the way I do it.
Like what?
Locking
up the toaster.
Yeah. I don't get that, because toast is amazing and you're robbing it from everybody for what purpose? But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know the full story. I don't know everything. So the piece I've heard, I don't agree with. But the common thread between all those things that I don't agree with is they're all coming from, to your point, a reactive, punitive stage.
Yeah.
I don't like something, so I am going to punish you. And in that sense, we're not strict. Like, dude just blew up the back window of the car this week. All right. Not me.
Yeah.
Not my wife. Not the little one. It was a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I'm like, okay, well,
shattered the whole thing
shattered.
And ripped out the back wiper on
like, it's still mind-boggling that she walked past an open hatch that was disassembled and thought, this car is good to go on the road. I'm going to go. But whatever.
With the hatch up.
But I mean, at the same time, what is yelling at her going to do?
Yeah.
It doesn't bring the window back. She's already mortified that she did something like that. I rode her all day, every chance I got, making fun of her. Right? She'd walk by a window and I'd say, be careful, it might explode. Stuff like that. That's good enough for me. I had a good 16 hours of ridiculing her. I guarantee she's never going to do that again. I don't need to yell at her. I don't need to take away her rights. I don't need to take away her cell phone.
And we're consistent too. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They just know that that's our rule. Whereas parents will scream, like one of Willow's friends, parents scream at their daughter, say, I'm taking your phone away. But then it's back in her hand within, an hour and nothing changes.
And typically, because it's more of a pain in the at that point, for the parent to have to police the thing that they've taken away, then just give it to them so they're happy and quiet. Right? And yeah, we've had to punish in the past, but it's always been the exception.
What have we punished?
There's a large amount of toys that disappeared over the years.
Oh no, that was just me. Like, your choice, dude. If you want to keep it, cool. It's not punishment. It's just they're learning from choice.
It's the one thing that keeps getting brought up is that's going in their books. is the robbing of toys. But if we go to a more general peer pressure stance, we are entering the age, and it starts from we've seen it really early with kids whispering for like Willow or Maya to go ask your parents.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the ones that are not super bad, but really indicative of where things are going. Right. Like, go ask your parents. Fine.
Can I say just one point before we move on to that kind of stuff? Just the whole the one thing I wanted to say about the whole everybody's doing it, why can't I?
Yeah.
We got to think about the lessons that we teach. And I know I've brought this one up, but this is just good to reiterate again in this context is, if we're like, oh, well, if everybody's doing it, you should. Because then what happens when they're 16 or 18 and for girls, everybody's flashing? Well, mom and dad said, as long as everybody's doing it, then I'm good.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Or doing a line of Coke. I don't know if kids do that at all or not, but pot is definitely popular. So, well, everybody's doing it, so it must be okay. Mom and dad said, if everybody's doing it, well, then that's fine. That's the establishing rule. So we got to be careful. We're kind of setting. It's not about because everybody said. It's about context. It's about our values, what's age appropriate. We will allow things based on those things.
Yeah.
Never because everybody's doing it.
Totally. And I think we're going into a stage now where we do have the potential at more dangerous options being pushed upon, right? Yeah. And so let's just use booze and drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. In my mind, when it comes to peer pressure, those aren't going to be asked of us, right? They're not going to come home and say, hey, at the last party, someone was asking me if I wanted to do Coke because it's 1980, to do Coke. And I didn't know. So can I? They're not going to do that.
Never.
Right. So it really comes down to, in my mind, preparing them, to your point, ahead of time to listen to their gut. Because a general rule of thumb is if a person or group of people is trying to pressure you into doing something that your initial reaction is no, that's a good indicator that that's probably not the path you want to go down. Right. And what it takes is for them to realize that before they're in that situation, so they listen a bit better and they go, nah, I'm good. And then teach them that it's okay to exit that situation, right? Call us, get in your car, get home, whatever. Now, in the event that, let's say it's booze, my biggest thing is if Maya was to go to a party and she made the decision because she was pressured into it or otherwise to drink, I need her to know that I'm not going to be mad that it happened as long as she called us to get her home. We'll deal with the outcome of it. She's probably going to be sick. She's going to have the physical stuff to deal with. We'll talk it through the next day. But response to peer pressure and then knowing you're potentially going to get in trouble for it only amplifies your decision to do it in the first place, right? Because there'll be some sort of behavior that you decide you're going to do. And if you're mad at us that day or we've annoyed you, you're for sure going to do it. And it's just going to make it worse because you're going to take the screw it, I'm in trouble anyways route. And the next thing you know, you're passed out, puking everywhere, and potentially have alcohol poisoning because you've gone so far because you're up against a wall. Your friends are pressuring you to do it, and you figure your parents are going to be pissed anyways. I can't win. I might as well do it. That's not what I want. I want the kids to know that when peer pressure occurs and we're not around to talk it through, go with your gut. If you make a wrong decision, which you're probably going to do from time to time, the outcome isn't we're going to kill you. The outcome is you got to know that we're a safe harbor to get you home and we'll deal with it afterwards. And the talk may be not so super fun, right? It's probably going to be a long, hard day of us saying, what the hell were you doing? Why did you do that? How do we not do this again? And whatever. But again, it can't be they think they're going to be punished because of the decision they've made. So, sorry, it's kind of rambly, but there's multiple steps in my mind on how to deal with it, especially as we get older, which is prepare them for the situation before it even occurs.
And that's the key piece.
Yeah.
I'll let you finish, but I'm going to come back to that in a second.
So prepare them so they know what's going to happen and what they should do in that situation and what they should listen to or not listen to. And then secondly, prepare them for the time they make the wrong call. Because they might not realize at the time that it's not the right decision. They don't have those triggers go up and they go, yeah, okay. And then immediately realize they made a mistake. I need them to know that once they make that realization, we're still the answer in terms of we're going to help you. We're going to get you through it. Because again, if they make that mistake and their first response is, oh my God, my parents are going to kill me, it's all going downhill from there.
Yeah.
Their friends are going to make stupid decisions to try and cover it up. They're potentially going to make another wrong decision. So it's preparation for door number 1, door number 2. And then the third is, address it openly and honestly as soon as it's done without blame. I mean, you got to take accountability and that'll be given to you, but depending on the severity, depending on the situation, depending on what happened, right? It all depends, but the core common theme is we're going to sit down and we're going to dissect this and we're going to figure out, why did you do it? What did you learn? What would you never do? Like those sort of conversations.
Mm-hmm. I do need to bring pen and paper in here because I have like a gazillion ideas based on. So, okay, the proactive piece, that's so important. And I think we avoid conversations or it becomes really lectury naggy and not we, like parents in general.
Yep.
And so we wait for things to happen, but we cannot do that. We need to have these conversations up front and not in a naggy way. So, I've always been planting seeds from the time they were itty bitty, planting little seeds. So I've never actually sat them down to lecture about all the bad things that drugs and alcohol can do to the brain. But it's inadvertent little things like, oh yeah, I saw this girl, her tics were induced by, and so it's, conversations I might be having with you. That the girls are there listening to, right? What I have seen drugs do to kids and to even adults and even drug-induced psychosis, and how, like, I always worried when I was a kid, just because we do have schizophrenia and Tourette's and things like that in the family. And so I was always scared about what that would do, right? I remember going to like fairs, right? And I could see the pig lungs. And I'm like, oh, we're going to go to that booth. Let's go check that out. That looks so cool. Knowing in my head exactly what that booth is. It's all about smoking and what it does to the lungs. And we've been to a few. One was about smoking, one was vaping and all the chemicals. And so it's not me, it's just creating those opportunities. So from a very young age, the girls have been hearing these little seeds, right? It's never been a sit down lecture.
Yeah.
But as they got older, it is a matter of, cool, like you go to a party, and I know the teenage brain. Their brain is based on reward. They're never going to think of consequences ever. It's just gonna be like, that's so awesome. Or they're wrapped up in context, so with mom and dad, they might have a sip of champagne at New Year's, right? They know in that context, there's adults there. They can inhibit their behavior. But as soon as that context is gone, it's all wrapped up in emotion and it's all wrapped up in peer. And they're 120% more likely to follow whatever their peers are doing in that time when they're caught up in the moment. So having those conversations around sex, it's always been like, it started with those videos, the tea video. Mm-hmm. I think I've mentioned it before, but if you haven't watched it, it's just type in like YouTube, informed consent, giving a cup of tea or something like that. So, but it's about informed consent. And they're talking about, you can ask somebody if they want tea. And if they say yay or yes, yay, give them tea. But if you start giving them tea and they're like, whoa, hold on, I don't want tea, you don't keep giving them tea, right? Or if they pass out, you don't give them tea.
Yeah.
Or if they fall asleep, you don't give them tea. So talking about that. And the first time I showed Maya, she wasn't, she was probably a tween. I'm like, what do you think this is about? And she's like, I don't know. And so I'm like, oh, it's about sex. And that's it. That was it. And so then I'd come back another time. So what do you think, about that? So it's just setting those little seeds, right? And even just as things come up like on TV, there's a conversation about condoms and it's like, okay, hey girls, I'm going to pause it quickly. What do you think you would use those for? Oh my God, mom. Right. But it's just dropping in those natural sort of opportunities proactively is important. The other thing I was going to say about how you were saying kids don't think, like, so maybe they've made a mistake. They didn't realize it. And that's going to happen.
Totally.
It's 100% going to happen. So yeah, afterwards, for me, I would never yell at them, scold them, lecture them, but it is, what was the learning opportunity here? What have you learned? Not as I'm going to sit down and lecture you. How are you feeling about this? What do you think about your decision? And what did you learn for next time? And what can you do differently? And what are you going to watch out for? So asking those meta questions where they're thinking up the answers, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. In the moment, if they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get in so much trouble, their brain will pick up danger, but it's not actually responding to it properly. They're focusing on the wrong information. So the story that I love giving parents is this is a true story. It was someone in the States, it was decades ago, but a kid. So he was like, the all-star. So quarterback, football player, valedictorian, like he was just, the king of the prom. Like he was that kid that just everybody loved. But he went to a party, broke curfew, was drinking. And he was walking home from the party and he had to go through a wooded area and it was in the middle of wintertime. So he's walking through the woods, but started freaking out. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get in trouble. And so there was a highway. At first he was walking along the highway, but he started to freak out. And so he went deeper into the woods. And at one point, police cars went by and he's like, oh my God, the police are looking for me. Like, this is just the end of my life, right? Went deeper into the woods. So even though the right thing would have been to stay along the highway, dude, like just face the consequences, and his body and brain were just like, you are in danger, but he just didn't pick up those cues. He misattributed everything to, I'm going to get in trouble. Anyways, they found his body the next morning. He was still alive. Barely, but he had to be airlifted to a burn unit because he had such bad frostbite over his entire body, and he lost limbs, never played football again, like just did end up losing his life, just, the way he thought it was going to turn out, just because of that. So yeah, being proactive is really important. I think the other thing too is talking about those situations, and I think we've been pretty good with Maya about this. Like if you're going into a thing, having a cover story, having a backstory, cover story, code word out, if you're ever uncomfortable, right? And you kind of touched on this. Why are you laughing?
Just thinking of a different example.
Okay. Is that you?
No, I don't know what that is. Something outside the room. No, I was just thinking of I've told you the story before about our friend Gianni trying to get out of.
Her podcast stopped. So she's tapping.
Tapping what though?
I don't know, but I've started it. Oh, why does it keep stopping? I don't know what she's tapping. She stopped tapping.
This is like some Prison Break stuff here.
But look, like it keeps stopping again. It's really weird. See, it keeps stopping.
Is it not downloaded?
It's downloaded. I don't know what she wants. She must be stopping it on her end.
Yeah, she probably is.
Anyway, so that's her problem. What was I saying?
We're talking about the dude losing limbs, never played football again. And then safe word, the accused of
safe word. Yeah. So, like pineapple, if she text us pineapple, and then we'll know to call you. So we can be like, hey kiddo, we need you home. And then it's like, oh man, crappy.
I would love to do all those drugs, guys, but my mom and dad need me.
Yeah, my parents suck so bad, right? So then they can blame us to get out, right? And so we just got to help prepare them. What?
I'm laughing because it seems like such a sitcom way to get out. It's a great idea, but I just see the camera cutting to her in the party going, oh, I wish I could do all of these drugs. They sound fantastic, but I have to go to church now with my parents. It just would be amazing.
Yeah. And she might not think of it, but if ever she was uncomfortable, because that's that thing. Like if it would be worse if she's uncomfortable and not knowing what to do, and now her anxiety's up, and then she's even more vulnerable, right? Just following along with it. Yeah. I know my mom, she was very young, like she was a teenager when she had me, and she was in a situation where she went to a party and I was still a baby. So somebody was babysitting me, and she went to a party and somebody pulled out drugs, and she was like, I could lose my baby. I am leaving right now. Right.
Yeah.
But she is different than than our generation of kids, because she had that assertiveness and had that reason, I am leaving now. Whereas a lot of kids don't. And so working on those assertiveness skills is so important.
Yeah.
I think that we can look at some of those skills that they need to develop from a very young age. And
I think that's a key piece of it too, that we're not really touching on is we can only teach so much, but we absolutely need them to learn that it's okay to plant your feet for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Right. And I think part of it, and this is me hypothesizing and not as the parent expert that I portray on TV. I think a lot of times kids are so used to being told that they can't push back. Yeah. You have to do what you're told. You have to. I think that creates this weird construct in their mind of, well, I'm being pressured to do this. I don't want to do it, but at some level, like, well, I got to do it because otherwise, blah, 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 blah. Whereas we don't teach that, right? We teach that you need to be respectful. You need to do what you're told in the right instances, but you're fully expected to push back if you feel that it's not appropriate or it's going to put you at risk or whatever. And it's not that parents don't teach them that. It's that they need to distinctly teach the difference, right? Between compliance or, being okay, standing up for yourself and saying, hey, I don't care what the consequences are. I'm not cool with this. And I think Maya demonstrates that a fair amount. I think she's okay with it. I think sometimes she might demonstrate it a bit too frequently in just chill situations where she's like, you're an idiot. What are you doing? But it is an important piece, right? Because you're right. For them to be able to know that it's time to pull the chute on something, they need to be comfortable with the fact that they're about to look uncool, right? So,
and that's why all of those other things that we've talked about on previous episodes about resilience, like standing up to coaches, having those difficult conversations, we can't always be in swooping to save them, because they're never going to learn to feel those uncomfortable feelings that are definitely going to come up in peer pressure situations.
100%.
They need to know how to manage that. And so that's why we are, go talk to your teacher.
Yeah,
right.
You go do it.
If there's a problem, or whatever that is, have those hard conversations, let them feel disappointment, let them feel all those big feelings, because it's going to lead to these situations. Now, all of a sudden we've crippled them. Right. Yeah. So I do think that that's important. The only other thing I was going to say just about the other things, like, the cell phone, What are other things? I mean, teenagers need to experiment. They're excited by novelty. They're excited by, experimentation. I would rather them experiment with, well, we know someone who just let their daughter was turning 17. She went and got a tattoo, right? Like I would much rather them dye their hair or shave their head or get a tattoo than experiment with,
because those are all things that are temporary. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, don't make fun of me.
I'm
Shaving your head, it will grow back.
I'm kidding.
Getting Alzheimer's because you did drugs and messed your brain up like that.
I totally agree with what you're saying. It was just, I know where you're going. It was just funny the tattoo was in there.
Yeah. But charts. So one thing that I often tell parents is create charts. And then it takes the pressure off. We're going to open up the conversation when you're 14 or 16 around piercings or or so whatever they come to you with, and you're like, oh, well, even pets, right? It was pets with us. And I'm like, not until we moved, like I'll open the conversation when we move out of this house, because I know we're going to sell this house in the next year or two. So when we move, we'll open up the conversation. And then they don't come back. Please, 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 please. We can now just point to the chart. Let's take a look. Oh, when you're 14, we can have this discussion about the phone, right?
When you're 30, we can talk about dating. That's it. We'll come back to it then.
So, but yeah, like talking about, well, even that, you have a boyfriend now and you're in the car and like, what are you going to do? And maybe it's in the moment I'm not expecting the girls to answer that, but I want them to think like, hey, kiddo, just think about these situations, right? Or you at a party, you meet a boy, he's hot, you're kissing him, and he wants to go for a drive. What would you do? I don't know.
Let me call my dad. He'll drive us around.
I don't know the answer to that. What are you going to do? And at what point, what are you going to do if you start feeling uncomfortable? So just so that they can start thinking and at least being aware of, oh my gosh, mom talked about this. Dad talked about this. I've thought about this. So just planting those seeds, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't have to create a safety plan around everything, but getting them thinking, I just want you to think about that. But the charts I love because it really is. And that's something like with Willow, we could put, your sister's 14. We're going to open the conversation at 14. We're not saying yes, but we're going to open the conversation there. And then we can collaborate a plan. Social media is out of the question.
Yeah, it's just a non-starter.
I'm just going to put social media, like not until end of high school kind of thing. When you're paying your own phone or whatever. But then that's just...
but hang on though. That won't work with one of our kids because she has a very healthy bank account sitting there and she will immediately say, fine, I'll buy my own phone today.
No, I know.
So just all I'm saying is be careful about setting a monetary component to their ability to do it.
Yeah. But Willow's the one we're worried about. She cannot hold money to save her life.
Oh boy, but she would spend it on something like that if she felt it was going to move her forward. 100%. And when in doubt, I'll just call grandma.
That's true.
That's her plan B for everything. I'll just call grandma.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally get it.
Just like when you're this age, we can have that conversation.
Yes. I think, and I think that's a great distinction because you're right. We've done it without really realizing it, or we haven't had a set plan of it's only at this age. We set those charts, you and I, independent of the child themselves that's bringing it, because it is different for both girls, right? Like I would say that one girl is better, ready for this than this. It's not the same. They always want it to be even. They always wanted, well, at this age, it's this, and why can't I stay elevated? No.
You're different kids.
Your own kid will see it when we think it's
friends.
Totally. So I agree. All the different factors, I agree, need to be taken into account for that chart. Don't just set it and forget it. It's not going to be the same if you have multiple kids.
But what Willow has that Maya never had was a landline. That's essentially her own landline.
Yeah, because we don't use it.
Yeah. Exactly.
If someone asked for me on that phone, I'd be like, who?
Yeah.
Oh, me? Okay. Yeah.
So, like I don't mind. And she's got Google that she can just call anybody on Google. So she's in her bedroom. Because I was thinking maybe we just get her landline in her room, but she doesn't need it. She's calls. Good. I didn't even know you can make calls on Google.
How do you think she's been calling us for the past 3 years?
Well, now I know, but I had no idea.
Yeah, no, and it's annoying because she sits 20 feet away from it and kind of yells.
Yeah.
And then you don't hear it, but that's another problem.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I am just going to look at my notes. I actually think we touched on everything.
Yeah, we're so good at this.
Yeah, so not getting mad if they do make a stupid thing. Just talk about the learning. Yeah, we hit it all.
Did you add ridicule them for their mistakes when it's appropriate? Because that's what I did this week, and I really felt it was a good way to do it. Is that appropriate? Are we going to suggest that?
Because we've got girls who are used to being teased, like our family teases each other all the time. Yeah, it's okay. But if you just start doing that to a kid who
some random kid that you've never teased before,
like, or your own kids, and they're super sensitive, like, then no, don't start teasing them if they already have a complex. But our girls have really tough skin. I think the only thing that I just want to really say is resisting negative peer pressure doesn't come naturally.
No.
We have to teach it. We have to be very explicit with it.
100%.
So that's why I thought it's really important to talk about, because I think we wait so much reactively. We wait for stuff to happen.
I think that's a super important point.
And then we're in trouble, right?
It's too late. It's already
then
happened.
We're reacting, we're emotional, we're screaming and yelling. And guess what? They're going to be like, well, screw you. I'm going to go do it again.
And that incident shapes the way the conversation goes, because you're no longer controlling the what if, you're trying to control the what happened, and you can't. Yeah. It's already done, right? And the outcome is the outcome.
And if we freak out, it's going to happen again.
Totally.
They're not going to learn, because if we freak out, they're going to think about how mean we are.
Yeah,
and
I knew they'd be like this.
And resenting us, and so they're never going to think about their own behavior.
Totally.
But when we stay calm and cool, and then they got to think about their own behavior.
And be like, you're an idiot. Why did you do that? That's what no, I'm kidding. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm just joking.
No.
High five, Dent. Yeah. That's our new sign off. That's so cool. No?
See you later.
Later.